Hi, welcome to Scott's Inverts. I'm Scott. These are the Inverts. Thank you so much for tuning in, and if you're not subscribed, remember to hit that subscription button for me. That would be absolutely fantastic. Today we are doing cheapest enclosure I can find, and we're going for an arboreal setup. Last week we did a fossorial setup. So fossorial is below ground, terrestrial is above ground, but they will go down a little bit into the ground, and then arboreal is the catch-22 because they are the complicated guys. They will go up, but then they can also burrow down just that little bit. Anyway, these are £1.25 from UK pound shops, probably $1 from the dollar shop, maybe $2. Very, very cheap, just skinny little plastics, absolutely perfect. As I said in the previous video, this sticker on this one will come off just with a little bit of soap and water. Sometimes you can get them. Hopefully this is one of them, so I don't look so much like a plonk donk. But if you go really, really carefully, this sticker, yes, it's done it. It will actually peel off. But what you want to do is just give that area where you've peeled it off a good clean anyway, just to get rid of that sticky residue, because you don't want sticky hands. Well, anyway, let's get into making this 3 litre round container into an arboreal setup. Boom, so here we have our arboreal setup to be. At the front we have gone for, this time, a ton of little holes all in the same area. Instead of dragging it round, I've just gone for the ones there, see if it makes any difference. And at the back we've put holes going from top to bottom to help increase that ventilation going through a whole enclosure, hopefully trying to get an airflow that comes in from the sides and up out through the holes in the top. We've put a ton in the top, and again, if you drill these, if you drill from this side, you kind of get like a little sharp edge on this side, but you just push your thumb across it like that and they soon flick off. It's really, really easy. Anyway, we also have a load of our beautiful moss. Just look at that. I have got a thing for moss. It is a bit of a fetish. This stuff is just absolutely gorgeous. We also have, for an arboreal setup, we have the cork bark. Now, before putting the substrate in, we want to do a quick dry run. So we want to get our cork bark in there, have a look, make sure it's not coming across the top. Make sure that we can do that, and we've got an inch or so between the top of the cork bark and the actual lid. What I've also done is, with my fingers, well, my thumb, I've snapped that section there out. So up to there is going to be substrate. So if our spider wants to come down and burrow slightly, it's got that option as well. It's really, really important, especially with Sarmopaeus genus. They like to do that, as well as pokies when they're younger. I find Sarmopaeus tend to do it more so though. So bear that in mind when you're setting up an arboreal setup. They are special guys that don't just live upstairs. Sometimes they like to go down into the substrate, down into the basement, and spend their time down there. So with that said, let's get some substrate into our enclosure. And the substrate is All Mix by BioBuzz, which you can get from any good grow shop. You know what a grow shop is, I hope. A mixing spoon's gone in there as well. That's what I use to get some of the springtails in there with. What we want to do is get about 3 inches of substrate in there and give it a good spray. Oh yeah, get that water in there. Don't be shy. There we go. I'm going to mix that around a little bit, get some down the bottom. Boom. There we go. That is some beautiful dampness going on in there. The next thing we want to do is get the cork bark where we've cut that hole or pushed out that hole. That's what we want to sink into the substrate now. So we're going to do that now. We're going to sink that real far down. So if our spider wants to, they can make that little burrow. And while that's in there, reach into your bag of substrate and just put a little sprinkle of loose stuff across the top And then we also want to make that loose stuff a little bit damp. We're going to go in for another spray. When you get substrate on the sides, don't worry too much. A good spray and it comes straight down. There we go. So that is nearly set up. I just want to give it a push, make sure nothing's going to fall over. Now all on the top of that substrate to help keep the humidity up, you want to put some moss. Now, not only does moss help with the humidity, it looks absolutely epic. And I've been using moss for a good time now. This stuff isn't shop bought. I used to buy it until Dave's little beasties kind of go, what are you buying it for? It's out there in the woods, go get it. And that's what we started doing about a year ago. And it's made such a difference. Instead of buying the dead stuff that says, oh, spray with water or soak in water, then it hopefully comes alive, we're actually adding live moss. Plus it's encouraged me to go out, oh, not the camera there, plus it's encouraged me to actually go out, have a look at nature more, get out in the woods. And once we've got all that in there, just move that little piece that was on the top there. Once we've got all that moss in there, we want to go ahead again, make it nice and damp, give it a good head start, get that nice and damp. Hopefully that will kick-start it into growing a bit in there. And the good thing about that moss that we've got in there is it doesn't require a lot of sunlight to grow. That's all we need. Absolutely perfect. And for the water dish, we're going for a milk bottle top. Absolutely perfect. Now this whole setup is going to cost, what, a couple of pound, maybe £6 with that little piece of cork bark in there. You know, we don't have to spend a lot of money on glass enclosures for our smaller spiders until they become adults, when we really want to start showing them off. And if I just turn that a little bit, wrong way, there we go. And that, my friends, is our arboreal setup. This one will accommodate smaller arboreal species for a long while. It'll also accommodate any arboreal species until they're about 3 or 4 inches. Then it's time to move up a size. But let's get a spider in there. The spider that we're putting in here is a Polytheria Terrigan Wesseli. What I'd say is a large sling, and she's going to be good in here for a good little while yet, probably until she becomes a small juvenile. And here she is, absolutely stunning. Now guys, this is how I like to rehouse, okay? So if I get a spider, it's in its pot like this, what I do is I just loosen that lid just a little bit. That's it, job done. So I know that is really, really loose. Then I get the lid of the container, have that dead really, really close by. We take the lid off with a pair of tongs, remove that, put the lid back on, and we wait for our spider to come out. And then we go back in and remove that little pot, and it's simple as that. And then also the all important label. It's so important to label up all our spiders. We know a lot by looking at them, but sometimes we forget, especially with the pokies that all, you know, a lot of them look very, very similar. It's a good practice to label them up. So Polytheria Terrigan Wessel. A lot of you guys knew that's what I missed off the last enclosure, and I highlighted Jackie's cats and things because she was the first one to comment in those comments what we missed. Absolutely awesome, very, very easy to set up, very effective. Try and go again for some of those enclosures that are more clear, so when we look in we can see our spider. And indeed, ours is literally just there. Absolutely gorgeous. And there's our Pokey just there. Absolutely gorgeous. Hopefully she'll be, or he will be, going down there pretty soon. But how easy is that to set up? How basic, how cheap. There she is again, just one last time. Pelithia, Terrigan Wesselii. Stunning spider, just a large sling in here with all our moss and that cork bark as well. Beautiful. Boom! So that was our cheap as chips arboreal setup for you guys. Again, you guys that have been in the hobby for a very long time, you might do your setups a different way. You might have a cheaper way, you might have an alternative to the substrate that I'm using, or even the cork bark that we use. Maybe use something different. Let me know down in the comments. It'd be really great to hear from all of you guys. This Tuesday, as in tomorrow, we have a live with Jeremy's Wild World. Now Jeremy is slowly becoming one of the better breeders, or one of the biggest breeders I should say, for true spiders in the UK. So true spiders on this channel, it's just easier to say true spiders. So any spiders other than tarantulas is what this guy breeds, and hopefully he's going to get some of those guys out live for us on that camera too tomorrow night. So if you're free and you're available 8 PM GMT, Greenwich Mean Time, or UK time, please pop along, come and say hello, Scott, in those comments. That'd be absolutely fantastic. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching, really do appreciate it. If you want to become a channel member and get your name up in the following footage, that would be absolutely awesome. You guys do so much for the channel. Massive shout out to you. Anyway guys, thank you so much, and as always, we shall see you again on the next one.